Hey, I'm back. Glad you could make it. I'm in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland again. Nice big sized book here. And flipping through, last time we did this turtle, and this time we're going to work on the griffin. So, you know, I still say that when you're doing a book, even if there are pages that show you what color that things are in the original book, do what you want. So that's what I've been doing through here. A lot of it is just what I want. And I want this griffin to be golden in all of his splendor. So let's get started. I am still using the Crayola coloring pencils. I have put a light coat all over of lilac, all over just his body and tail. All right, then I'm going to use royal purple as my medium, and then my dark is going to be plum. So let's go ahead and get on with that before we go to the wings. So I'm moving over to my royal purple, and I'm just going to go where that shadow is. So you'll notice in this book that a lot of shadows are already put in, and so it's very helpful for when it comes to coloring. It just really helps take some of that guesswork out, I guess you could say. Now, this right through here is a shadow from his wings and his head overlapping. Okay, see this curve here? That's that wing. Okay, so when we get here, I'm gonna go ahead and go into that some with this second shade that I'm using. I'm gonna go over this real lightly. In fact, I'm gonna go back to my circles so that it will go ahead and blend for me. And I won't be leaving those streaky lines. So the lines that you see popping through here are the lines that the artist put in for hash marks and shading and stuff like that. And that's okay, I don't mind those being there. In fact, I may go over those a little bit darker with the pencil. But let's just get this body. Body is pretty simple. Where we're going to run into more difficulty is going to be up in those wings. I'm going to go ahead and do this down here, the lighter areas. That way when I go in with that darker color, it's going to be more of a pop. Because if I don't hit this with the medium and I go straight to the dark, it's going to be too big of a contrast. We've talked before about how if you're going up into the attic, it gets darker as you go unless you turn that light on. Down into the basement, it's going to get darker as you go unless you turn that light on. So we want to remember that and not jump from 1 stair to 5 stairs down. We want to get all the shades and lights in between. So I think that's probably got that area as I keep going. So there we go. That's probably good. Now I'm going to go to my third, which I believe was plum. Yes, plum. Now's when I'm going to come in here to the darkest areas. And you see I'm not holding back here on the pencil anymore. I crept up on it. And it's not real defined here in the picture, so I just kind of defined it myself a little bit so that I'd have that separation. There we go. Now do you see how that looks like it's tucked up underneath there? And I can't push real hard or I'll break that tip off. So that's one reason I went ahead and sharpened it so well, was because I did not want to be pressing real hard. And if I have a good tip on it, that's going to keep me from doing that, because I don't want to bust it. So this is coming through looking almost like black, but it's got that purple side to it. So that's why it makes it a good color for shadows and such. If you go outside and stand in the sun and then look at your shadow and think purple, your shadow is going to cast almost purple. Your eye will fix that in your brain for you. And so I love to use purples on shadows, but I wanted him a purple body anyway, so it just kind of all lent itself together. And then I'm going to come around here and get in this V. That'll really pop this knee up and push his torso down. Yeah, I don't know why one of my videos not long ago came out sideways, because I did the next video right after it and it came out straight. So I was like, what? Because I didn't even bother to move the tablet or anything. So I don't know what happened. Now here, I'm just going to come in and do a little bit of those lines that were in there. Just add some texture. That's all it's doing, is adding texture. And a little bit of depth. True, yeah. So I didn't color that solid either, just added some texture. I'll go along just the base of this to help anchor that tail down. There we go. So if this video goes over, just like I tell you on most of the videos, I will just make part 2 release as soon as part 1 is released. So just go back and look, and there should be a part 2 right away. But I went ahead and did some of his scales just so that I would be practiced up already and kind of know which direction I was going, so that maybe this video would not take over the 30 minutes. Because I know my phone cuts off, and then I found out, so does the tablet. And I'm sure it's a sensor or something in there that I just don't understand. So, but I think 30 minutes is really long enough anyway, because you kind of need a break after that. So now right here, I'm doing a little more solid because I want this to be in front of this, and this is already in the medium. So I've got to get that dark in there to really push that part of his foot back. So just kind of watch. And see, normally I would have put some dark right here, but I'd have to go black to get that much darker than this. So I went ahead and let this part be dark. That's where they had the shadows already drawn. And it's on the back side of his body anyway, so why not? Do think I'm going to come in here and add a little bit more, and then I'll get lighter and lighter touch as I go out so that it fades into that other purple. Because if I keep it the same darkness, it's going to blend in with this. Okay? Basically, that's it for his body, y'all. Yeah. I mean, I've got to do this foot yet, but I don't have the colors pulled for that, so I'm going to probably wait till later. Or I may do it in the golden colors that we do his scales. So let me stand up and see how we are time-wise. Oh, sweet. Not even 10 minutes. Okay, back to Crayola. We are mango and light brown and dark chocolate. So normally when I do gold, I pull like from yellows or cream all the way through to the deepest, darkest brown. I don't have room for that here. So let me show you how I did this. I go through and I do just the little rounded edge of each scale. You know, it seems like it's a little tedious, but wait till you see how quickly this works up. I was really amazed at how fast it went. I started doing some sample area, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta stop this video. You know, don't want to accidentally do too much. But yeah, just get all those rounded tips. You can see I'm bearing down pretty hard. I'm not being overly careful. Just getting it done. All right, so let's look at that. What I did over here was next, I pulled my brown, my light brown, and I'm going to go in to the next area. So I'm going just right down into that mango. So not a lot of pressure, just enough to cover that and then blend into the mango. So if you do it too hard, it won't blend to the mango, because here we are breaking the attic and basement rule, and we are going down like several steps at once instead of going slowly from color to color or shade to shade. But you can see I'm just getting that color in there, blending it into that mango. And if you need to, if you're using different pencils or you want to use this technique on something else, grab the colors that you're thinking will work well and just go ahead and use them on a piece of scratch paper. Try it out and see how it looks. That way you're not going straight to your picture, and then if you don't like it, you're like, oh, I messed up. Because a lot of the papers that these books are done on, you can erase, but it leaves that paper stained. So you're still going to have that color down underneath that you're trying to cover up. So when in doubt, scratch paper it out. You know? Okay, so that's the second color. And if I miss some, I'll pick it up later or it won't matter. So I do want to come down and get this better. Okay, now I'm going with the dark chocolate. So all of this has already had dark chocolate, and then I stopped so I could come in and show you. Just up in those V's and down a little. You don't want to go real far, but you want to define those scales. And some of them are so dark, you're like, wait a minute, I can't even see what's there. If you can't see what's there, then it's probably okay to go ahead and do it dark. But see, this is just tucking each scale up underneath the one before it. And I'm keeping this lighter because it was a lighter drawn area, and I just want to go ahead and stick with what they had going on. I may be overlapping on some of these that I'm doing. I'm not, if I were sitting at my table doing this and not on YouTube, I would probably sit here with my finger and follow along so I knew exactly where I was. So you can always let your finger be your guide so that you're not getting lost on what you're doing. Okay? I just don't like to have my hand out there in the picture in your way when I'm coloring. But anyway, Just keep going. Yeah, it gets a little monotonous sometimes. You're just like, oh, really? But I think it looks good. Now, one thing I can do through here, because this blended really well because it was already dark, but I can come back with my lightest color and look how that just kind of brightened that up. Look at that versus this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that up here too. And it just brightens it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all over. Just brighten up that golden area. And it's helping to get rid of some of the white divots or whatever you want to call them. The little spots in the canvas, in the coloring page. It gets rid of some of that white texture in the paper. Now, I've already started up here. I came around and did this. Okay, then I'm going to come out here and do the edge. I'm going to do just the top. Okay, then I'm going to move over to second color, which is the light brown. And I'm going to go around here and into that lighter color. Because I still want it to go with all this, even though it's not going to be a gold. I know I moved the book, so let me get up and see what I've done. Okay, that's all right. We're still in. So, come right here and blend into that mango color. Then down here in the lightest shadowed area, because I'm going to come through here with some dark in a little bit. I did not pick out an eye color yet either, so to be determined later, I guess. Just trying to stick with the colors that I used before so that this all blends together. All right, then I'm going to go to my darker, and I'm going to come in and really start putting those dark colors in. All right, see how that tucked that down in there? Now, do you see how careful I'm not being? Just getting some edges down in there. I don't want to do the whole thing, so it's easier just to get a bit down in there. Down here, then blend it into the prior color. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some here, just so that we have that color repeating. It'll make my page look a little more cohesive. And then I can come in with that mango again and just go over it. It's just going to help blend all that. I know, hard to believe that this mango is that yellowish color, but it is. All right, then now let's look at the wings. We're at 20 minutes. Good. So now, still got the mango, and I'm looking at the lightest areas in here. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and do it all because there's white in some of these lines. So by doing all that, I'm getting some of that tooth out of the paper, some of those dots, the divots, the valleys that are white. Very easy, just coloring like a child almost. Just getting some color on there. Now, this I believe, is part of this background, so I'm not going to do it. I had to look at first because I thought it might have been part of this wing, but this is part of this wing. So just kind of look at what you're doing on each page before you just go for it and end up boogering something up in the wrong area. All right, so there's my lightest shade. Now my medium shade, which mine happens to be light brown, and I'm going to come in and get up almost like what we did over here, except I did everything in the mango to start with. So I'm going right up next to the layer before. So like on here, I'm getting right up next to the one before it so that it actually looks overlapped. I'm not going to worry about blending just a whole lot because I know I'm going to go over it again with that mango. So I don't want to stress over the blending. Doesn't mean I'm not trying to keep it in the right areas. I'm just not stressing over it. Then over here, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do just some lines because that's what's on these feathers. So I'm trying to follow the lines the same direction, and sometimes they go back and forth, and sometimes they are going the same direction. So whatever you're coloring, just look and see and try to follow according to what the artist has done. Because if they've gone one way and you do a different way, it's going to work out okay, but it's not going to look as cohesive or as well as it could have. Okay? So just get those lines in. And go up in here. Let's see, what else should I do? I should do all of these just under the row before. Then all across here. And then some of these, just to help break that up so it's not one total, line of one color. We want the different colors to be in there so that it actually looks like it's more dimensional. So just follow your page. And I think that's probably good. It's a good start anyway. 23 minutes. All right, dark chocolate. Now's when we're going to come up here and then fade. Come up here, fade it out. And these are so dark, and you're like, well, why even do them? Well, do you see a difference there? Do you see a difference in this and this? Okay, watch. Just by going around that feather and down into here, I push that to the back a little and pop this up. Here's another line, so I'm going to do there. Go over here, it pops this feather up, but by doing here, it tucks it down underneath. So when you want to tuck something under, just go below it or beside it, depending on what it is. Play with your pencils, play with color. Just getting the color up in here between all these V's. Okay, and then we did this, but we haven't done this yet. So let's come through here, trying to keep my hand out of the way. going around these feathers and going darker just under them. That's going to tuck them down under the row that's above. Same thing here. I'm going to tuck these under by just getting that dark in there. There's not a whole lot of blending on this. I'm more or less just drawing that in. And then here, I'm just doing some jagged lines because there's some furry strokes in there. And it's not a gold, but I think they're golden enough that you get the idea. I did not use metallic because then it would have been a solid, and I just didn't want to go there. Alright, now I'm going to come back with my original mango and brighten this up. Do you see the difference in this and this? Okay, I'm going to skip those for a minute and go over here. This is not something I normally do, no. Now, can you tell that I skipped those? I just want to golden it up some. It's the only reason I'm using this technique of going over all of it again. And this wing I've left quite a bit lighter because the sun is coming down and just hitting that. Plus they didn't have a lot of dark marks on it like they had on all this. So I used that as a guide. Now right in here, because this is behind this, I am going to come in with my brown, my light brown, yeah, light brown. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. I need to push that back in there. So now my dark chocolate, I really want this to look like it's behind. So now by adding that dark, I've pushed that away. Okay? So that's really it. Pick an eye color you like, pick claw colors you like, and just go for it. But yeah, that's it. So hopefully again in a few days there will be another video pop up for you. I've been trying to keep this regular on postings. If you're just starting, there's the ISBN for the book. At the time that I started this video sessions going through this book, it was available on Amazon. Now this artist also has like 5 other different books, 3, 4, I don't know. Anyway, I was able to get one at our half-price books, but not this one. And yeah, I know there's, I want to say there's Wizard of Oz. I want to say there's a Christmas one, and I can't remember the other one. But I think, oh, Peter Rabbit, and I've already finished Peter Rabbit. I did some of it online, but not all of it. So have fun, and I will see you in a few days. Bye.